Which science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Where you been?
Drunk.
Wendy, darling, light of my life.
What's your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck off and die.
Nah, happy together.
Oh, I was just thinking that. Nah.
Nah.
We can do that, right?
Nah. It's the song. The song is a cover anyways. So
Oh, that's
whatever.
true. The whole time I was watching this movie, I was thinking of that song, kind of just obviously just off and on, and so I'm glad because of the title, and it just kind of like, even though it's got that weird kind of French song that like keeps playing over and over and over, even though they're in Argentina, that sounds like it's from 12 Monkeys or something, but
Chinese created in Argentina with that weird French song.
So weird. But yeah, I was like kind of imagining it, and then when it actually kind of did play at the end, I was like, oh, there it is, nice. You might be wondering.
I was almost
This is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. That's Jordan. I'm Levi. We're happy together, which is the and
we're not quite as happy as these guys, but
no. So this, we're talking about. I feel like I just got a fucking knife to the brain. We are.
Oh, good.
That's good.
Yeah, well, welcome. Let's talk for an hour.
Talking about this month is Queer Cinema Month, right? And so this week, you obviously saw we started with the na. You know what we're talking about. We're talking about Happy Together, right? I'm gonna butcher all the names in this whole thing, so that's just a disclaimer up front. We went to public school and are
Poing
extremely white.
UFA.
And but it's like I will always just read it phonetically because I feel like that's less offensive, but I don't know. I don't know what's worse. So, real quick, Jordan, I actually wrote a synopsis.
Oh, wonderful! Good.
I know. I don't know
for this.
I'm trying to get to it though.
This
stalling.
This like thumping narrative that just this driving narrative.
I gave it like just a little, just a smidge to keep me, because it's not like it's like most of these movies we've been watching this month. There's been kind of a theme other than the obvious one. It's just like a very like loose narratives, I feel like, follow this. You know what I mean? It's very much like more about the vibes, more about like the emotions being on display from like the artistic standpoint. You know what I mean? Like My Own Private Idaho.
I was gonna comment like we've kind of been stuck in like the more mask, male relationship vibe of this, the gay spectrum, and that's the queer cinema that we're doing. It's like that's been kind of interesting. So I'm like, maybe our next because we're gonna do one more movie, right? We got and so
dude, I keep putting other ones on there, but they never win. Of course. But it's because there's just isn't as many. Also, you know what I mean?
I think it's great that this won, though. I'm really excited to watch this, and this was not even all the other movies we've done have been on my radar, and this movie is one I've actually never heard of, and so that's something that I was really happy to. Yeah,
I never heard of it either.
But it is interesting that we've been following that, and the relationships have all been like there are more like it's like almost new love in like people they've known already. I mean, I don't know. Call Me by Your Name is like that's them meeting for the first time and falling in love, but then they can't be together, and so that's kind of interesting. And all three movies have been like that, where it's like the person that they love they can't be with, and that's interesting. I like that. I think it's an interesting theme.
Yeah, well, there's these. That's what I'm saying. It's all these movies visually, thematically, other than just being,
Yeah.
about gay relationships, are very interconnected. I think thematically, like all three of them have like a lot of connective tissue,
100%.
which is interesting because it's not like that's by design from our point of view. I don't know, you know what I mean?
No, right? And they vary drastically through
they're
the
quite-
years, right? Or I guess it's like, yeah.
Well, and they're
that-
quite different
basically.
stylistically, even though in the same way, like there are a lot of parallels between this and the others. So,
Yeah.
But real quick, yeah, we'll do first impressions here in a sec. Just a little bit more because I didn't know fucking anything about this movie either. I literally typed in like best queer cinema, and it's like it's on a lot of the lists, and I'm like that looks interesting, so I put it on the poll. And if anyone, I mean, no one's gonna fucking listen to this episode. This is not the kind of movie. I feel like everyone flocks to the Spotify and is like,
yeah.
oh my god,
I
I
don't-
can't believe they did that movie.
I don't know if we have do we even get a Reddit for this? I didn't even check.
Clones are people too, dude.
We'll
Though, he's the true goat out there.
Okay, good.
So for you, I'll have you know, clones are people too, that even though this movie tied, but I was so sick this last week, I didn't vote. And so I would have voted for this movie. So I picked this movie to break the tie. But I had no idea. I honestly saw a thumbnail of it and I was like, this movie looks grimy. I want to watch it. And it was. It was pretty
Yeah.
grimy.
I mean,
So-
and Wong Kar-wai. So that'll
What?
that sold me too.
What did?
Wong Kar-wai directed this.
Yeah, I did not know that. I did not even know.
Yeah,
who
me
that
either.
is.
Dude, the whole time we were watching it, I was like, this is kind of like In a Mood for Love.
See,
Then I was
I've only we'll get in that a little bit because when I
okay, do your synopsis.
because once I was like, oh, those are his other movies. I've not seen either of them, but I've seen chunks from In the Mood for Love and Chunking Express. But I've never seen them, but they've both been on my list forever, and so I had no idea that this was like in the same like filmography, which kind of makes sense. Just from having watched this now, it's interesting. This is what I started with, but it makes me really want to watch those
I know,
other ones.
right?
So, but we're gonna do Asian cinema. We keep talking like we're gonna do one of those this month, so that's just gonna be all the more reason coming up.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so quick synopsis for the moms, because the other person I know is listening is Cindy. Thank you, love you. See you on Sunday. So I almost was like leaves 72 says okay because I wrote it on the Reddit.
Yeah.
Happy Together follows Po Wing and Faye, a gay couple from Hong Kong, that take a trip to Argentina after getting back together for like the millionth time. While attempting to travel to a famous waterfall, the duo get lost, leading to another breakup. Out of cash and stranded in Rio de Janeiro, Faye works various odd jobs to make ends meet while living in a shithole apartment, while Po Wing attaches himself to other men in order to support him. After a couple run-ins, Po Wing gets badly injured and goes to Faye for support, and the couple get back together. They live briefly together, Faye tending to Po Wing's injuries and working full-time at a Chinese restaurant where he makes a friend named Chang. Very quickly, old resentments fester between Po Wing and Faye, and they break up again after Faye withholds Po Wing's passport. Faye visits the falls on his own, hopefully and finally breaking free of his toxic relationship before heading back to China. Once back in his native country, he eats at a food stall of the friend that he met in Rio, unknowingly, and reminisces on the lost connection. I mean, he knows when he sees the picture, but it's a serendipitous
right. That's-
connection. But that's
I know,
the
right,
gist.
which-
I mean, obviously, that's it. That's all I
That's
wrote.
fantastic, and that's so like nuts and bolts of a movie that otherwise
Well, it's not
like,
plot heavy. It's just like
honestly,
they pal around. They're
There's-
poor. They work. Like it's very slice of life esque. It's like it would be more of a road trip movie in the vein of like I feel like it would be more in the vein of fucking My Own Private Idaho, but it's just like they're just like just they don't know anyone, and so it's like the opposite in that way, where it's like in My Own Private Idaho they keep running into people and like bumming rides and stuff, and it's like one country, but here they're just like stranded there, you know what I mean? And so they're just like
right. Well, dude, I was like, I was thinking about this a lot. I loved getting a perspective of someone from China who's fascinated with Southern America and decided to shoot a movie there, and like seeing that cultural divide where it's like he's there and he learns enough broken Spanish to work at like a tango bar.
Yeah.
And and operate within like restaurants and the corner store. And like just they've been living there, and there's no definitive timeline with this, which is cool. Like I'm assuming it's just like a year, right? Because
something like that. Yeah, it feels
you get some like it feels about a year, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like you get like 97 is they actually put a title card up or whatever.
It's their on his passport when they
like
go. It's on his passport. Yeah.
Right, it's on his passport, and I think he even says like back in '97, or
Yeah.
the April of '97, I go home or whatever.
That tracks.
So
Yeah.
it's like kind of cool to see like how much they pick up. It's a weird lens to like then I see it now being like American watching this film. It feels like such a time capsule in that sense too, which is really cool. Which is like I'm glad like this is a Criterion and like it does feels like film history, and but it's like I didn't really like I don't know it's weird on first impressions. I'm kind of like I don't know if I'd ever want to watch it again, and I feel like if I was like 16 or like 16 to 20 in that range, I think I would like this more because of like it feels so vibrant, but it's got kind of that slowness to it and that art house to it. But then like I don't know, there's so much desperation in it.
Yeah.
And I love
Desperation's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I love how they shoot between that like 16 millimeter black and white and then some like really crisp 35. Like this was shot like really cheap, and it was literally just like Wong Kar-wai likes this. There's an author from Argentina that he really likes, and the author writes about just life there,
Yeah.
and so he's like, I want to go. He goes down, no script, nothing. He just goes down knowing that he wants to shoot something there. And so I believe it's Leslie Chung he plays Po Wing. Pretty sure he brought him with him. And then like the Tony, the other actor, he was there and he wasn't even quite like sure.
Yeah.
There was no.
I can't imagine this. Yeah,
it.
I was gonna say I can't imagine the script to this being like, because it is very kind of like just very loose scenes of like people's lives,
right.
and then like some narrative,
Yeah.
like voiceover kind of scattered in, like being like
when he got Leslie Chung down, he didn't know it was going to be like, he didn't know there was going to be like graphic gay sex in this film, and so it's like
it could have been.
Like,
it wasn't even that graphic. It just been
no, but I mean, but
it
for
should
like
be,
for
though.
like,
But
not even to say for 97, but just to say like
Mary watched the first scene because she just happened to be in the room, and it's literally that's how it opens. Though they're just like in the room together, and he just like spits in his hand, and Mary's like, "No, not just don't just do spit, Jesus!" Like,
yeah, right. No, literally though, dude, you're gonna tear a ring in there, dude. You're gonna tear an O-ring. But,
I'm sure they do.
It freaking I don't know. I don't quite remember exactly what I was saying, but it's just crazy. Oh no, how he got like quote unquote tricked to do that, and it's like it's wild because I was looking it up, and it's like China doesn't have. They're very staunch on like it's legal to be gay in China, but it's illegal to get married.
Well,
and you
and
have
they're
very limited rights, and it's just
I don't know how
just culturally.
Yeah, we're not like geopolitical experts or anything, but it's just like I know that, and I don't know exactly how it was in the 90s either, but like I think China's known pretty widely as like being harsh on censorship, and so it makes sense. Right. There's just like we want to tell this story, so I was like, because I didn't know all what it was about, right? And so it was refreshing that like when they're like not at all in China, but they're Chinese, going to South America, I was like, oh, it's kind of like a refreshing change of pace, like it's kind of interesting.
No,
but it makes
cool.
sense.
It was cool to see like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
I felt third removed from it, and to like
it is
have to watch them be, that removed from their hometown, and they talk about how like longing, but no, what I wanted to get to also was it's crazy. This movie was like over 3 hours, and it had like there were multiple characters that were cut from this that were like love interests and actually had like more structural narrative.
Fucking I felt like 3 hours to me.
Right. No, it did. Yeah, and I think.
So,
I
mean, it was smart that they cut it. It's under 100 minutes, thank God.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Yeah, I was feeling a little fatigued, but I think I I think I don't know. I thought it was beautiful. Like there's some times where it would like linger a little bit.
See,
you know, but I don't know. I was
you
impressed.
say
I was
beautiful,
impressed, but like
I would not use beautiful to describe this film at all. It's caustic. You know what I mean? Like this movie,
yeah.
which
I
I
honestly,
love.
Though they
honestly love
They
that.
actually they degraded the film.
Makes sense.
On
I
purpose.
honestly wrote in my review
yeah.
that it's like they just like let it bubble in an acid bath for like the development. Like it feels like that in the cinematography,
Right.
and that reflects very like the cinematography reflects like the emotional state and the mental state of the characters pretty well. You know what I mean? I think it's that's what's like good. It's like everything's so bright and contrasted and like oversaturated, like too much on the film grain. But it's like that's like their quote unquote when they're happy, but it's like it's like fucking sour candy in your mouth, man, where it's just like it's good but it burns, and that's how it feels with them. And so it like really works when it works, you know what I mean? But like my first impression is this, because I obviously knew nothing. I really, 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 and this is going to be it in a nutshell because it's like, as we talk about it, but I really, really loved the filmmaking, obviously. Like, I think it looked really beautiful. It was very cool, stylistic, and everything like that, and I was engaged the whole time with that. But I struggled with the non-narrative, which is normally fine for me, but I disliked both the characters, and I didn't like, there was no, like, I needed a high moment. I needed like a really, because it's like even when they're like quote unquote happy together, they're being like cutesy, but they're 2 seconds away from killing each other. They're like, oh, it's like a head lean on the shoulder. Like it's more like subtle, like, oh, you're the other half of me, but I fucking hate myself, is what it feels like. And
Totally. I think that's a apt. Yeah.
It's completely intentional that it's just like, you know, the heart wants what the heart wants, and they love each other, but it's just like they are not good for each other. But I was like hoping for some really good high that I'm like, oh, that's nice. And so it made everything else, like all the bickering and the jealousy and the insecurity, like matter. But like since everything is just that the whole time with like just a couple bumps of like, oh, they're dancing briefly for a minute. That's nice. You know what I mean? But then the next minute, there's just like, you fucking piece of shit, or like being needy. I struggled with it, and I felt the runtime because of that. But so I'm conflicted, right? Because it's like I really liked this movie overall, and I know I'm gonna remember it fondly, like I do. But most of it has to do with like the atmosphere, the vibes, and I don't think they did anything wrong. I think that obviously these like I said, caustic or toxic feelings that are coming from the main characters and their relationship translates into the actual look and feel of the movie is all obviously very intentional, and it's the point, but I just don't know if it hit for me like in the way that it could have. Like I feel like I was like it's missing something. Like there's a key ingredient. I don't know if it's hope. Like I don't know. There's a little bit of hope at the end. So that helps. Like that, it brought me back up. Like there was something missing to kind of bring it out of this for me a little bit. Like him going to the falls at the end, and then like kind of going back and like going to that food stall. That was like kind of nice. But the falls felt good because that was like a cathartic moment. I was like waiting for that catharsis, and it just. But I guess that's what feels real. It feels raw. You know, this whole movie because that.
Right. Of course. I mean, I do. I feel like the falls, you know, the falls and their symbolism of just kind of reaching that end destination, you know, is interesting. I think that I was satisfied with the end of like Faye's life, where he gets home and he like sees Chang, you know, he sees his friend at the stall, and he's like, oh, I know that he has a good life. His parents can provide for him. They're a happy family. He has somewhere to come home to when he's ready. And then just when he's like, I wonder what my father would think, you know, when I see him, like, what's he gonna say when I see him? And I'm like, so his story's done, and that's why I think this ending is beautiful, where like it goes.
The ending was good,
and it's Chang. It's Chang's ending where he's like, oh, I tried to listen to right, isn't it? Yeah, I think it ends with him, right, as he's at the end of the world, or maybe it does end with him being like, oh, I want to see my father, and then he's just like in a car again or something, in a taxi. I can't remember the exact last shot, but like that whole like sequence where it goes
It's like
back to Chang, and
on
he's
the
at
train. He was like after he leaves, he's on the train
Yeah.
or whatever.
Oh yeah, I think that's what it is, right? Yeah. But just going to the lighthouse was awesome. But I do think that this could have, I think like where they emphasized and created this floating camera. Oh, just like a Gaspar Noé style of just the camera is is a third eye, and there is the cinematographer is even when they're like up close. It feels like voyeuristic, like
it
the
is
entire time.
Yeah,
even like all the times we're in their apartment, I feel uncomfortable, like I shouldn't be there, and I think that's like what shows between their relationship, and I guess that really is the whole point. Is like the whole time you're supposed to feel like that. I don't know. Okay, so I was thinking that the title was like kind of ironic, like they never were happy together.
Yeah,
I don't think I think even in the moments where they seemed slightly playful at all, I feel like he wasn't, because he'd always be like, oh, when he's like, let's start over.
They don't know
like,
happiness though, right? Like that's
I'm compelled.
all they can kind of like conflate.
And I think
these being someone who kind of understands them, even if they can't stand each other, is like the closest they can get.
Right, and that captures just a time in your life of your like mid-20s or something, like that's what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
They seem like they're in that, in that like trying to figure it out, and then like especially, and that's the thing. I think it's hard because I really wanted something to grasp onto, like you said. Like I really wish that there was like, not even closure with his parents or anything. I actually enjoyed like him just being like, when I go see my father, I wonder what he'll say.
It's just enough. Like it's just enough because he's the narrator, and you get kind of like you can infer just enough about like his backstory and how he like stole from his dad's friend to like make it like that he's like his opportunity and like shamed him, or whatever.
And he might, but I'm like, is he ostracized because he's gay? Does his family know? Well, that was something I was like kind of frustrated about.
The shred of hope at the end, though, right? Between the like going home, the like I hope I can remedy things, like that's the shred of like before. I feel like he had to like shed off this baggage of this relationship, even if they're kind of meant for each other in the worst way. He had to shed off this baggage in order to have a shred of like even wanting to get redemption, because it's like he's not gotten redemption. There is no redemption yet, but it's like there's a hint of like, well, now maybe I want it. You know what I mean? Maybe I want to like remedy things with my family, or like I'm back home and I fulfilled myself with seeing the falls, and now I know that I have some comfort in this connection of this friend I met down there, and I can see like vicariously like his life is like he has a fulfillment, and he's like, because the Chang character, he's in it very little, but he's like very joyful, he's very happy, and like you can tell that Faye like kind of like longs for like that personality and that connection. And so like when he sees kind of like his family life and home life, chaotic though it may be, it's like there's like a bitter, like it's bittersweet.
It's endearing.
It is. It's endearing,
sure.
But it's like definitely
yeah.
It's good. The ending almost saves it for me. Like, and I say that like I don't like it. I do like this movie. I do like this movie, even though I kind of struggle with it. But it's like I endured through the movie, and then having watched it, it's like got through the other side. Now it's like I really like it, having lived through it, and I'm really glad I watched it. And it really makes me want to watch the director's other films like really badly, because I quite like the filmmaking. Was for sure the highlight.
Yeah, of course. And In a Mood for Love is like one of those. I've only ever seen maybe 30 minutes of it.
Same. I've seen a few
throughout
scenes
the year. It's like
stuff,
just I've seen some big scenes, and then I've seen everywhere or
everything
everywhere all at once. And so how they like.
And I've seen like like two shots from Chungking Express, and I'm always like, it's on like so many lists. Like both of those movies are on my watch list, and it's funny that I had no idea it was the same guy who directed this, but having seen those, the like visual style shows, and so it's like I really loved the visual style and how it like wasn't just random either. It like really coincided with like the rest of the feel of the movie.
So that is movie magic to me.
Yeah.
Like, I understand what you're saying, but like what they like, I was just thinking, I'm like, this movie felt at times almost even documentary style. Like, it just so much of it, it literally, because this is essentially how it
makes
was
sense.
filmed.
Yeah, how you said
just,
it was filmed. Yeah, it makes sense.
It was just they were just capturing footage and then putting together a narrative out of it.
Yeah.
Like that seriously is like pretty much what it was. It's almost like they just made, you know, it's a character study, if you will, but it's very intimate, you know. It's like, I mean, there's only 3 credited characters essentially in this. It's like, you know, a lot of the other people that were like part of it, you know, were just there to like
I
hang out
appreciate
and
that
be, like, on
more
a vacation.
because like the last couple movies, like they have that very like loose vibe where it's just mostly like it's not about the quote unquote plot or like the narrative really at all, so much as it's about like the dynamic between the 2, you know, romantic leads or whatever, and just kind of like their lives, especially in like Call Me by Your Name. But it's like where Call Me by Your Name feels written, you know what I mean? This definitely doesn't, and I really, as much as I like that movie too, I really liked it. Like it fit this movie more, and so I was way less frustrated because it's like that was the same problem I had with Call Me by Your Name, is that it's just kind of a lot of nothing, which I wasn't in the mood for. It was like it was all vibes, but this was all vibes in a way that felt just much rawer, and it's because it was, you know what I mean? Like you say, it's just like,
Yeah, totally.
we're just fucking getting down to the grimy. The fact that it was
And they
hours
and
long.
they fixed a lot of narrative.
Yeah.
And a lot of narrative came from just voiceover. Like,
Yeah.
that's where you mainly get, like, I honestly, like, from my memory right now, I would say, like, I don't know, the whole main plot is through narrative, or through like voiceover.
Yeah,
narrative.
yeah.
Like, it's like weird. It's weird that, like, when I think about it now, it's like the things happening in the scenes are happening immediately. They're not really driving like the story farther.
We
until
should do that
explains.
as an experiment. Is no outline, no nothing. Let's just go fucking film like just raw documentary style.
Go camping or something, yeah.
And just get like that sounds like a nightmare to edit, but then just like try to like
try to build
something out of it.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
I think that's where it is. Is like, I think that's where I'm smitten by this film, and I'm so like thoroughly impressed for the fact that it is like it's basically a road trip vacation that he took in Argentina, and
let's make a movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, most of the people in it are like just human beings found. It's Larry Clark style, like just like they are just like locals, and it's like and he was like part of he talked to Spain, and he was like he had their like permission to film and stuff, so it kind of it's one of those, like, it's a great blend between that, where it's like there's a lot of stuff that they captured that was just like not really rehearsed or planned out necessarily, and they just went with it, and you can feel that at times where like people aren't looking at the camera directly, but there's a lot of like chaos where the camera's right in the middle of it that kind of documentary style where they're like boots on the ground, just like they're doing it. But then it's like clearly there are shots that are like there's scenes that are like created, but it's like I don't know, man. There's a lot of it that like most of it feels like it's just shot, like when they're on the bridge and they're walking, and he's like, "You're making me walk in the cold," and he's like, "It's good for you." And it's like there's such a chaos in this with each character. Like, they want their
chaos
needs,
for sure.
they want their needs met, and like they're not getting their needs met, and so they get like antsy and they want to do it. And it's like it's a weird. I related with that so well, but then like I don't know why exactly. It's
it's not good
cool.
though.
Like, I don't know,
but it's not indicative of like a good relationship. But obviously that's not what this is about. But like
no, of course not.
The
That's what I'm saying.
neediness of
I
him
don't
like
think they
wanting
had
to
a good
sleep next to him, and like he moves the couch next to the bed and everything.
That insecurity, dude.
Yeah, it's
And then he like
really
pushes him
good.
back.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's well
but
acted
it was
for sure.
It was frustrating me, but like by design. To me, this was one of those movies that like I was ready to go and get like a somber romantic movie. So knowing what it is now, where it's more like a fucking Uncut Gems or something, where it's like it's meant, it feels like it's meant to like give me kind of anxiety. And it's like one of those kind of movies where it's like a little bit more challenging, aggressively. Like it's not like,
well, dude,
oh, let me give you like your
like
3-act structure with your fucking, like And not even that, but
No,
it's just like
it's watching a guy like
frustrating.
struggle in quicksand, and he's just like like trying to get out. The whole time I kept being like, God, they want to like they're trying so hard to like move forward, but like there's their emotions
and it's like
their
they don't
finances
even
and everything about it. Like
I don't even understand that they need it. Like I don't know. It's like they're so stuck in
Yeah.
it that they're not like I need to be away from you. Like they just literally because you're kind of rooting for Faye. Because, oh my God, like Po Wang or whatever. He's kind of like the more antagonistic of the two most of the time. But then,
right.
but like Faye's like the more manipulative. And so it's like you're like rooting for him, but then it's just like his like insecurity. He's like, oh, it's literally like Phantom Thread where it's like, I only like you when I'm poisoning you with mushrooms. You know what I mean? Where he's like, I only liked you.
No,
we were at our best when I could take care of you when you were injured. And
yeah,
so now,
he says that really,
literally,
like, yeah.
And so now I don't want you to leave. I'm going to hide your passport essentially because I still need to like have you dependent on me type of vibes.
Oh no, it's toxic.
I know,
AF,
but
dude.
it's
bad.
It's good though, so I don't want to conflate that.
Right,
Like this
right.
movie, was a frustrating watch for me, and I think it's because I didn't know that going in. I was like frustrated with it while watching it a little bit, but it's like obviously by design. So I don't know. I think.
Yeah.
Like I've said before, this is gonna live better in my memory. Like so many movies where it's like having gone through it, I can be like, oh yeah, I suffered through that just with them. You know what I mean? And it was, I'm a better person for it now, and having experienced that as art because it's like that raw. I mean, like we've all been in shitty relationships. Like I've never been sharing a flea-ridden apartment in Rio de Janeiro.
But
relationship, but we've been there where it's just like these like little jabs and like insecurities and like like you say the antsiness of like you're not getting what you want out of this and like you guys are not jiving, like everything you say to try and make a connection or to try and do something is just like is not interpreted correctly and everything is just fucking bashing heads. It captures that so well. But
so well. And it's weird because you'd think it's like you can tell that there is that like Wong Kar-wai has he has an eye for like mood for sure. Like and that's like very established in his other movie. All of his other films. But like the scene that like I really like was focusing on when I watched this is when he's got the knife and he's just playing with that like butterfly knife or switchblade or whatever. Yeah. And he's just kind of like he's just randomly like poking things with it and like dropping it. And like they're in the room together and he's like stabbing it against the wall. And like that scene could be like shot so poorly that it would feel like super cringy. Mm-hmm. Like I could
just like start stabbing the wall
or being too intense. Almost like it was like. It's there's such a weird threat behind it that it's like it feels like there's no intent behind this threat, but like but it is a threat because he's like
bubbling under the surface, right?
He's idly playing with that. Like it is, yeah. So
well, that's
going back to antsy. That's
a good point. You say like antsy idling. There's a certain amount of boredom that comes with like these characters in their lifestyle. Like they're always hustling.
They have the TV on like. 80% of the time they're in the apartment, the TV's on, but no one's really watching it. Like no one's just there, and they're kind of just walking around the apartment.
Well, when he goes out to fucking God, I gotta have it in front of me, but like Lopang, not
Tango.
Faye. Yeah, he goes out and he comes back because after he's healing, and he comes back with like 1,000 things of cigarettes. And it's just like it's so like passive aggressive.
He's putting them in,
and it's just like something to do, but he can't do it just to do it. He's got to do it to like make a point. And he's like, so you don't have to leave all the time. And all we do is just sit around and smoke for something to do. You know what I mean? He's like stacking them everywhere. They just can't fucking
right. And then he like
handle that shit.
He throws them on the ground. It's like, dude, yeah, I think that's what's interesting is like they never really have like a conversation about their relationship, but like it shows so well. It's like. That's what's I don't know. It's interesting because it's like I wouldn't say this is like master class in acting. Like it's not like they weren't like completely blowing me away, but there was such a there's such a I think
authenticity,
like
right?
a truth to it.
Yeah,
Authenticity, totally. Yeah, like it felt so lived in. I mean, and it helped that they were literally just stuck together. You know,
'Cause
they were.
It
it's
felt like
where
there was
they
no
were.
script because it wasn't for better or worse,
Right.
and sometimes it was for better and sometimes
Right.
it was for worse. But
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Exactly. I mean, I think that's what's hard too. It's like the script is like an idea, and you get down there, and then it's like you workshop it with the people you're with, and like that's what's it is fun. I mean, I think that energy is something that I like. I could see like jumping out of the screen, but like you said, physically watching it, just the actual pacing of it. There were a lot of times where it would drag, and they're just like. The like next thing that would be punchy, like when like they actually separate, and then he like face starts going out, and like kind of just like being reckless.
yeah,
Like I was like, oh man, it like made me nervous, because I was like, what are they gonna do? Like, and I was gonna say this with the 3 films that we've watched, Call Me by Your Name and My Own Private Idaho. It's really nice they haven't leaned into like trauma porn or the victim. Really,
we talked about that last week,
really,
where it's like they so easily
I'm-
could, and it's so
they could.
refreshing
I
that
was
they
worried
don't. Though.
that they were. Yes, me too. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, it's like, oh, this makes me happy that it's not
As
just like
much.
someone's not getting like abused or anything, and like I thought he was gonna get AIDS or something.
Yeah.
Like I thought they were gonna bring like something more serious into it. Which I mean, it's still like the actual circumstances are very serious. He's like, he's just sleeping around, and he's getting himself into like precarious, dangerous positions, like banging dudes in bathrooms, which like it opens yourself up to like just I don't know, scrutiny from the person doing it, and just diseases and shit,
violence.
You could violence, right? Exactly, and the narrative could go any of those ways, but it just kind of I don't know, floats and meanders,
Well,
but.
it's the like again, it leads to an authenticity of it, because obviously I wasn't a gay Chinese man in the 90s and wherever, but it's like both this and My Own Private Idaho specifically, like they do feel like they speak to this like outsider class, but it's not like, and last week I compared it to Trainspotting again, where it's like they show the like just normalcy and the good parts of being a heroin addict, right? Like in Trainspotting, but like in these 2 movies, it's like they show the reality of like being in these seedy situations, like My Own Private Idaho being like a male prostitute, and in this movie, like the scenes where he's like going to hookups in the fucking rest stop, it's obviously not a good situation. Like it's not portrayed like, oh, we're having fun. It's seedy as fuck, but it's just like I feel like that was a part of a lot of the culture at the time, where it's like had to be so hidden, and hopefully it doesn't have to be hidden again. But it's like I don't know. It's interesting, because it's like a lot of these, like you say, avoiding the trauma porn of it all is refreshing, because as much as I like movies like Boys Don't Cry and like Philadelphia, which I was going to put on maybe next week on the poll.
Right.
Like those movies, they do a really good job with it, but it ends with like,
of course,
violence happening to you because you were gay, and that being like the point. It's like this like persecution of it. And I'm glad that these movies do touch on that, and this movie does not much, but it's like you get it from the fringes, like you say, with like maybe his family he's ostracized possibly because of it, and like Call Me by Your Name, it's like they can't be together because of like the social stigma and everything, but it's not like the front and center of it, you know what I mean? And I would say it's so overplayed, but it's like these movies are like 30 years old, these last 2. And so it's refreshing that like even at 30 years ago, that it's like, I don't know, I guess that's what you get for being like these indie movies too, from these artists. I mean, I don't know if I don't even know if the actors in this movie are gay or anything like that, but like, I don't know, but it don't matter, because it doesn't really matter to the story they're telling. But it's like, I don't know, it adds to what I feel like is the rawness. But like we've said before, everything I know is from movies. So I watch this movie and it feels like a documentary. So I assume this is just what the 90s being gay was like.
I know,
I just don't know.
And I think there's, but I think there
I'm
is.
just like, they really nailed it.
Like,
They really nailed the vibe.
Yeah. right. I'm not gonna cite this film as a source, but like
I will. I'll be like, that's
I
history.
think
I
that's what I'm
saw
trying
it. I saw it in the
yeah,
movie.
right. I know, really though. But that's kind of there is like a truth behind it.
Yeah.
But I actually don't know if either of those characters are gay. I would assume that they're not because he was like, the Leslie Chung was like, he didn't know that he was going to be in a gay film, you know? And so it was that like he worked on it, he was like kind of, convinced to go with it and to have that like, and it's like, I think it's pretty interesting that like the most gratuitous sex happened right at the beginning,
right at the
like
beginning,
to get it out of the way almost, and I appreciated that because I was just like, oh, I don't know, sex scenes, like that's how come it's like My Own Private Idaho. I was like, okay, that's such a refreshing take on a sex scene. It's like in this movie, the sex scene is just a sex scene. It happens, and it's like, I don't know, it's just as boring to me as any other sex scene in it.
Well, I don't know. It's aggressive in the way that they're later would show.
Right.
Now I'm looking at it in the lens of not
establishes-
passionate in the way that like
Yeah,
it felt at the
100%.
first, right?
Yeah, no, totally. Like that's the thing. I'm like, I think that's how come I enjoyed it because it's the first. It's important to get it out of the way and to like establish who they are.
We know why you
and
enjoyed
then,
it.
That. Yeah, and then I'm right. Yeah, there you go. God, they're so sleek and sweaty, dude.
Well,
It's like they're dirty, man. When he's like
so
wiping
dirty.
them with the cloth, and he's like,
he's
the
like,
doctor
the
says you got to be
fleas,
clean.
too.
I'm like, you're not getting clean, dude. The
dirty.
doctor's not. That's not
Well,
cleansing.
riddle me
your one
this.
towel, your towel that you clean the floor with.
They spend a lot of time in that like 1-bedroom like studio hotel or like apartment or whatever, and it's a great little set, and it's obviously like he's renting that room, right? And it makes me wonder if they're filming it very like they're on the streets, like that's obviously a real place, a real room. That's not a set, obviously. It makes me wonder. It's just like, were they living there, like kind of for real? Like I hope they were. Or they were like renting out the place, and then they're like, "That's the room we film in, though," And then the closet's just like where all the film equipment is stashed during the day.
I mean,
I wonder.
I would
love.
surprised,
I would
but
love to see. I know we would never get it, but I'd love to see like a making of or something.
Well,
you know what I mean?
there might be, dude. This came out in a One Car Wise's got a Criterion collection. And so I think it's got like all of his movies or whatever, a lot of his films on it.
Huh.
I'm not sure exactly what all the movies entail in his box set, but
well, I'm excited to
I
check
would
him
imagine
out.
it's-
You know what I mean? Because we keep talking like we're gonna do an Asian Cinema Month, and so we'll definitely do that before October, hopefully, because that's gonna be tomorrow for all we fucking know. But
I know, right?
it's like
Which is funny. I just watched a horror movie, so it's like one of those like.
so did I. I watched like the latest 2 movies I saw were horror movies, like the new that weren't for the podcast. But I know because the next we want to do like Asian cinema and we want to do like anime. So I guess we're just really in the fucking mood. I don't know. We'll have to break it up though. We can't go right into it. So we'll see what we do. But
I know.
do you
Can't go into
you talked
go
to
to Asian cinema next month.
yeah maybe you talked a little bit about budget slightly, but was a hard one to find the budget because obviously it was low budget, but it's like 2 different countries that don't use. Oh, you're getting absorbed again.
I know, right? My camera.
That don't use like I'm assuming that obviously there's no dollars involved, so I don't know how that works with my limited education.
Let me cross reference because it does. Okay, so I think that's how they did it because it's like the Hong Kong, currency. It's 8.6 million, but that translates to like a million or 4 million. What is it? 4.2 million American, and so that's a pretty like I would imagine that a lot of that is travel expense, maybe, and like.
I think
I don't know.
A third of it is
film
fucking
too, obviously.
the developing fluids that they had to let it soak in. They had to get 3 times as many fluids to develop this film. That's why
Right.
it's got such a fucking burnt cigarette look, man. I love the look of this movie so much.
No, me too. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even know if it is. It might all just be 35 millimeter.
Some of
and
it
they
has to be
because
16,
what they did is
right? Like, because
they
I could tell.
they kept processing it. Yeah, I feel like all the road
I mean, who
trippy
knows?
stuff, all the stuff in cars,
Yeah.
like the smaller camera stuff, because they shoot in a car pretty extensively.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
So it's like,
yeah.
I would bet that's all 16.
I feel like
millimeters.
they
It's
just like because that's the thing. It's like they were sometimes switching to black and white, which at first I thought was like, was very coincide with like their feelings,
Yeah.
and it was like when they're feeling like cold
Yeah.
towards each other and stuff. And then it's just like they're burning too hot. It's like burning the film almost. But it's like fucking. It does feel like they, especially now you saying how it was filmed, it feels like they're like, let's just go hit the streets. And so they took out the 16 millimeter because it's like easier to walk around with and just like fucking film. So it's like when they're out, just like more quote unquote pickup shots type stuff where they're just like out in the town, just like walking around and they like run into like the soccer games, that they keep showing. It's like those feel like they're just walking around. They're like, yo, let me film some of your soccer game with the 16, I like it. Captures these real moments. But I don't know, because there was sometimes I'm like, was this whole movie shot on like? I was trying to figure it out, but then like sometimes I'm like, that's beautiful, 35, obviously. But then sometimes I'm like,
all the stuff, all the helicopter shots were 35 for sure.
But I can't tell if it's like the processing, because it's obviously some of it's like really over processed on purpose. But I couldn't tell if it was like so grainy and grimy because of its like 16 millimeter, or if it's just been like so beat up a little bit, that it's 35 that just kind of is beat up and looks that way like 16. So, but I wouldn't be surprised. They just like fucking throw a video camera in there too, just because fuck it,
I know, right? I kind of, I think that like it never, the quality never degraded enough.
No,
like it's still. That's what like it got
and when it did, it was intentional. Like it felt
in film process. Right, exactly. Yeah. Like how they
So this movie made like a ton of money, right?
No, yeah, right. It made like 1.5 mil, so which is pretty good. It had a very, very limited release, so I think it did pretty good. I was curious though. I didn't really find out how well it did in China itself. Like in '97, the like homosexuality and being gay was like finally legalized, and so it's kind of, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if that had an impression on him when he was making this,
Yeah, because going back a little
I wonder
bit,
if it was
I don't want to harp. Yeah, I don't want to harp on it so much because it's like, but the fact it almost makes it. I can't tell. Like, I'm interested to know because normally I don't care about like the sexuality of the people involved, right? But it's like, obviously, Gus Van Sant from My Own Private Idaho is like he's like a pioneer for like gay cinema. He's a gay man. But it's like these guys maybe not being gay, but like telling an authentic just like love story period and like acting it so well. And the filmmaker portraying this in a way that like, again, it feels like when you see the movie that's like focuses on the like misery porn or like tries to tell the story that's like a little bit more pessimistic like this one is, I feel like a straight filmmaker would like grab onto that, you know what I mean? And not like, I don't know. So it's like if none of them are gay, because obviously this is what actually happened in 1997 and knows, it feels like they, I don't know, like they played it very nuanced than they could have. Like it feels like it's.
I think that helps. I think that helps is that they kind of captured like an idea, I mean, maybe,
Well, they're just. It is almost just like I want to tell a story of just this toxic relationship, but it's like we just are like we're just two dudes that are on this trip. So I guess because they didn't know what it was going to be. So it makes sense that they're just like, okay, well, this is the relationship. And yeah, it makes sense if maybe, I don't know. I'm curious. I'm curious. I'm going to have to read up to it. But I don't do any of the looking up while making the podcast, and I'm blind as fuck. So maybe we'll look up later and do it. If we ever do a post show, we'll talk about it. Because normally I don't care, but I'm curious. That's all I pretty much have to say about this movie. I do like it. And I do
too.
It's looking. I might have to go back and change my Letterboxd rating because talking through it, I have much more of appreciation for it. And I finished it today, like a couple hours ago, actually. And so,
oh, nice. That's
it's
what I do sometimes too.
it's raw in my mind. So, but like,
And I think that I don't know, man. I like to watch it like on Sunday or Monday.
Yeah.
So I can have like a full 24 hours to really
I usually
let it.
I set Mondays
sink in.
aside unless I got like hardcore school stuff. Then I do Sundays. But like with this new schedule for the podcast and everyone, and whoever's listening to this, if you got an issue with this or anything, then tell me if it doesn't work. But lately, I've been doing I've been doing the polls like right after the podcast comes out. Right, as you've noticed, I've done the polls on like Thursdays and Fridays, and then I'll post the discussion like Saturday mornings or Friday nights so that we can just know by the weekend, because we all watch it through the weekend anyway. I don't think we need to know that much in advance. It's either you're going to watch it the weekend or you've already seen it and you just chime in then, and I feel like it's more immediate. But I hope that's enough time, because I know like you and I, Jordan, like, yeah, we watch it Sunday or Monday, and so I hope that's enough time for everyone, because I post on like Saturday, and it's like, all right, it's a few days. But I kind of like it like that. I don't know. But I do think it's better.
You can always go back.
Well, it's better to sit with it.
You can come back and you can. Yeah.
Like you say, I wish I would have finished this yesterday. But sometimes maybe it was better because, like I said, by Call Me By Your Name, I split that up a little bit too, because I was like struggling when I watched it. But when I finished it, the next day I was in a different mindset. And sometimes that works and that's not. So I'm wondering, if you're in a bad mindset watching a movie and it's like not clicking for you, sometimes just like turn it off and finish it later, and maybe it'll like hit better. Because I feel like that was the case for both Call Me By Your Name and this movie, where it's just like I finished like the last 30 minutes the next day, and I came in like recharged and refreshed and kind of having a little bit more of an idea of what I was watching. And normally, I mean, especially, dude, 16-year-old me would slit my throat. Have you heard me say that? I was like, you must watch it all in one setting as it was intended. It's one story.
Yeah.
I
know. Yeah. Well, I don't know. School got me really used to like breaking up a movie, because you'd watch it, you'd watch the first hour in class, then you'd watch the second hour in class.
It would drive me nuts. Like it would drive
Oh,
me nuts,
really?
because I would be like,
I like it kind of. Yeah,
I'm
I don't know.
invested in
I'm
the film
comfortable.
now. But you have to.
I definitely would want to finish a movie like,
Well,
badly.
that's a
but-
double-edged sword, though. I think if you're really into it,
No.
and then you have to like change moods, and you come back and you're in a different mood now, because like all art, it's like the relationship between the viewer and like the piece of art depends on whatever. So it's like it could vary. You know what I mean? It's like if I watched this movie after having a big blow-up fight with my wife that I've had the same fight fucking a million times over the last 10 years, it's like, would I like this more or would I like it less? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's such a, like,
I don't know.
it's
I
how
think
you
there-
come
there
into
is-
movies.
yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like
there's such a relatability to this film for me that like it's kind of weird. I didn't even like expect that,
It
and
is.
so I'm like, oh,
Well,
interesting.
I agree. So, got one Reddit, but you can guess. To the main guy listening. Me.
Our guy.
All right, here it is. So, Culture People 2 says, first watch, I have seen some of Kong Kar-wai's films before, so I knew what to expect here. I quite like this, although I find these films to be pretty challenging to watch, and they need to be actively viewed and given full attention. The director is a master at telling emotional stories through a very visual medium. I think I truly didn't understand what mise-en-scène meant until I watched this director. There's such an artistry within the frame with colors, green for jealousy / envy, blues for isolation, etc., and combined with handheld shots and fast editing makes the film feel very raw and intimate. I always like the way the films are so intimate. The world feels fleshed out, but we are so focused on the main characters that nothing else really matters but them. Overall, I enjoyed this, but I would avoid it if you haven't seen one of Kar-wai's films before. 7 out of 10. If you like this, I recommend Chungking Express. Same style, but more accessible story. In the Mood for Love, another deeply intimate, bittersweet film, and Blue Valentine, similar style, but Americanized. Thank you for that comment.
Cool.
I
Yeah,
should.
I totally agree. I
really
think it
wanna
is funny. This is the first movie we watched, which is like not one of the big ones, obviously. Like, or at least, I mean, out of the two that I know of his films. So,
Right, for sure. Yeah. Thanks. I know that is the color in this movie. Like I've obviously talked about it relating to other stuff, but it's like, yeah, there really is a strong use of like the visual medium, and I think that's why I really love it, because it's like, God damn, I love fucking filmmaking, man. I love movies so much. Like
yeah.
I mean, maybe we're biased here, but it's the best artistic medium. Fight me.
It is. No, I mean, it is 100%. It's
got it all, baby.
All the other artistic mediums out there, they have their merits.
They're good.
And I actively engage in a lot of them. I don't really create music, but I definitely enjoy music. And then I don't really, I love like interacting with video games, and I like to create, like with the fine art medium myself. But like, there's, I don't know. You can capture a lot, and
movies.
it's great, but like,
I love you, movies.
yeah, movies got every sense. Dude.
I like it.
Every sense in the world, man. I can taste movies sometimes,
Yeah.
Can
But it just
taste them.
they express emotions, and I think that's what this movie really nails, is like they express emotions in such a way that, like, I feel like the only other art form that doesn't exist, maybe it does, that it's like smell-o-vision or something, because it feels like there be movies, and I'm an old bitch now, where it's just like I'll be brought to tears on a movie just because it's like just the visual audio medium of it just happening, and just like I'm just like, oh dude, this is someone's art, and I'm feeling the expression they're sending to me. And this movie achieved it.
I can get
the last several
engrossed.
movies achieved it very well.
Right, yeah. Like I get engrossed in a book, but there's like books have to have a pacing, and that like, it's difficult to fully be like, connected to the book.
There are
it's like,
some things you just can't do. You know what I mean? Like
can't right.
Like
And
films
definitely books
also
can do things
films
that
also
movies can't.
limited. Yeah. But
Sure, of course there's limitations, but I mean, like, what the limitations do, the amount of limitations there are, what the creativity it breeds is totally there's nothing else like it. Like you can't do that with any other medium.
I remember
there's so many mediums involved in film that it just like it is perfect. Films are amazing.
Better
So
storytelling sometimes
that's
too.
That's our stance.
Casual storytelling. I remember I was writing a story not long ago, and I got frustrated and dropped the story because there was like background storytelling I wanted to tell, and like visual, like, because obviously that's how I think of it, right? It's like visual storytelling I wanted to do that I couldn't capture in a book without like writing it out, and writing it out kind of like defeated the purpose. Like I can't write out like a fucking beautiful fucking sunset. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just not. I'm not a poet, so I don't know. I guess that's what poetry's for. But
right. But I don't know. Yeah, like fully writing out, like,
I was trying to write in like background
like,
hints too,
true.
like just to do the atmosphere. But if you write it in, then it's just like obvious. I don't know. It's like it seems like you have to be more focused with writing. But that's just me being neurotic too when I write. But anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I don't know what we're watching next week, so stay tuned for that. Go and check out the Reddit. Check out the YouTubes. I'll put up a poll next couple days.
Check out Patreon. We got a new episode up on Patreon soon. Coming up soon, I assume.
I
right?
feel like I blacked.
Or did you
I feel like I like fucking blacked out, where it's like, I was like, oh, I need to edit that episode. But then I'm like, I actually think I did edit it.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay, you edited it.
But I don't know if I don't think I posted it, but I must have edited it and not posted it. So, but we actually did record a like follow-up episode. I don't remember what we talked about, so go listen to it. But it was very it was
it was so interesting. It's worth your dollars.
I had to so interesting. I had to fucking wipe it from my mind so I can relive it again.
It was too hot. The content was so hot that my brain was melting.
That's why I got daggers in the brain right now. It's because of all that good content at Patreon. Anyway. So stay tuned. Well,
we got Levi's endorsement.
Yeah, I'm not biased.
All right. Good night.
Bye.